At the Austrian Grand Prix, something serious happened behind the scenes at Ferrari. It wasn't shown clearly on the broadcast, but those who paid attention could hear it in Lewis Hamilton's voice. On lap 50, when his race engineer Riccardo Adami told him to box, Hamilton didn't just answer with frustration. He pushed back. "I don't want to stop," he said, for words, but those words carried weight. They told the story of a bigger issue, not just a tire strategy disagreement, but a growing fight inside Ferrari between a champion who trusts his instincts and a team that only trusts data and procedures. Ferrari later said the pit stop was just part of a normal strategy, but to Hamilton, it felt like something more. He felt ignored, overruled, silenced. This wasn't about tires anymore. It was about control. Hamilton didn't question the pit stop just for performance. He was also struggling with brake balance. That's something almost no one talked about. But in post-race interviews, Hamilton mentioned it. "I struggled a lot with brake balance during the race. It definitely cost me time." Ferrari never brought it up. They didn't explain it. They didn't even adjust for it. It was silence. And that silence said everything. Brake problems at a track like Austria are a big deal. The Red Bull Ring is a fast and short circuit. It needs sharp braking and confidence on the pedal. If Hamilton was managing brake issues while also being told to stop for tires he didn't need, then he wasn't just being managed poorly, he was being ignored. That's the real story. Not that Hamilton had a bad race, but that the team did not react to what he was feeling. They just followed a strategy sheet, no discussion, no flexibility. Even more concerning was who was in charge that day. Ferrari's usual team boss, Fred Vasseur, wasn't at the track. Instead, Jerome D'Ambrosio was on the pit wall. Ferrari said Vasseur had personal reasons to miss the race, but that absence opened the door for something else. D'Ambrosio, once a Mercedes insider and Hamilton's old colleague, was now making key decisions at Ferrari, and he didn't back Hamilton. When asked about the radio message, D'Ambrosio simply said, "Nothing unusual. It was the optimal strategy, calm, polite, but completely dismissing what Hamilton felt." This is where it gets deeper. D'Ambrosio isn't just any substitute. Since last October, he has been quietly growing his presence at Ferrari, sitting in meetings, shaping race strategy, and slowly becoming a key voice in performance decisions. His appearance in Austria wasn't by chance, it was planned, and his calm dismissal of Hamilton's protest wasn't an accident either. It felt like a message that Hamilton's voice wouldn't always be the loudest inside Ferrari. Take a closer look at the timing of the strategy call before the pit stop. Hamilton was closing the gap to Charles Leclerc. He had more pace. The difference in time was shrinking. But as soon as Leclerc boxed, Ferrari told Hamilton to stop too. Why? Why not let him extend? Why not try the overcut? Hamilton didn't feel his tires were done, and the data doesn't show a drop in performance. His lap times were still good. There was no degradation. But the team didn't let him continue. They didn't listen. They told him to stop. This pattern isn't new. Since the start of the season, there have been many moments where Hamilton's race was shaped not by performance, but by strategy calls that seemed to protect Leclerc's position. In Bahrain, in Imola, and now in Austria, each time Hamilton gets close, something happens. A pit stop is called early, a plan changes, and each time, Hamilton is left frustrated. The difference is now he's speaking up, not in angry rants, but in short, strong messages, like "I don't want to stop." That wasn't just a request. It was a statement, a warning, a test. Hamilton wanted to see how far he could push, how much control he actually had, and the answer was clear: very little. Leclerc didn't say anything during or after the race. He didn't talk about the radio disagreement. He didn't mention Hamilton's brake problems. He didn't defend the strategy. He didn't have to, because Jerome D'Ambrosio did it for him. That silence from Leclerc is powerful. It shows that inside Ferrari, Leclerc is the one with full trust. The team listens to him, builds around him, makes decisions with him. He doesn't need to speak. His power is quiet but absolute. Sources close to Ferrari say that in private meetings, Leclerc is now being asked for his opinion before key strategy choices are made. His feedback shapes the car setup. The simulations are tuned to his driving style, not Hamilton's. This isn't equality. This is hierarchy. A system where one driver is treated like the future and the other like a guest. And Hamilton knows it. That's why he's pushing harder than ever. In meetings, he doesn't just ask questions, he demands answers. He wants to know why tire warm-ups are handled a certain way, why fuel-saving instructions come without explanation, why the race engineer can't adjust during the race. He's not being difficult. He's being professional. But inside Ferrari, it feels like a challenge. Ferrari is a team of tradition, of rituals. They are used to drivers who accept the plan, not question it. When Hamilton comes in with his Mercedes-style mindset, open communication, real-time changes. Driver first thinking, it clashes, and now that clash is becoming public. Look at Riccardo Adami, Hamilton's race engineer, the man who should be closest to the driver, the one who should guide him, support him, protect him. But in Austria, Adami said nothing. No back and forth, no negotiation, just robotic calls. Box, box, no explanation, no dialogue. It was like reading from a script, and after the race, nothing from him, no interview, no statement, just silence. Adami used to be known for his creativity. He worked with Vettel. He used to think on his feet. But with Hamilton, that's gone. Maybe he's being controlled from above. Maybe he's lost his own freedom. Either way, it's a problem. Because if your race engineer can't speak freely, the whole relationship breaks down. Behind the scenes, there is growing tension between Hamilton's personal team and Ferrari's race team. Hamilton wants to be part of the process. He wants to influence the race as it happens. But Ferrari just wants execution. Follow the plan. No changes, no feelings, no instinct. This is not what Hamilton came for. He didn't leave Mercedes to be a passenger. He came to Ferrari to lead, to build, to win. But now, he's facing a system that isn't ready to change. A system that still believes the strategy sheet knows better than the driver. And in that system, Hamilton is trapped. What happened in Austria wasn't just a disagreement over tires. It was a moment that revealed everything. The control, the mistrust, the lack of support. It showed that even as a 7-time champion, Hamilton has to fight not just the track but the people around him. And yet, he keeps fighting. Because he still believes Ferrari can be great. But for that to happen, the team must trust him. Not just his speed, but his voice, his feeling, his leadership. Because if they don't, then moments like "I don't want to stop" will keep happening, and they will only grow louder. Ferrari can't afford to silence Hamilton. They must learn to listen, because what's at risk is more than just a race result. It's the entire mission. The reason Hamilton joined, to change Ferrari from the inside, to bring modern thinking into an old structure. But change never comes easy. It comes with tension, with disagreement, with brave words spoken in tough moments. In Austria, Hamilton said for simple words, but they meant much more. They meant "I see what you're doing." They meant "I'm not going to be quiet." And they meant "I deserve better." Now the world knows it too. And as the season continues, this battle will only grow. The question now is not whether Hamilton can fit in a Ferrari. It's whether Ferrari is ready to become the team Hamilton needs. Austria was not just a single race with a frustrating strategy. Call it was a mirror held up to Ferrari's future, and in that reflection, the cracks are becoming clearer. The team is split between what it has always been and what it could become. On one side, there's comfort, routine, and traditional order. On the other, there's the challenge, the voice, and the vision of a world champion who refuses to be handled like just another driver. Hamilton isn't asking for special treatment. He's asking to be heard. He's asking for logic, for clarity, for decisions that are made with the driver, not just around him. When he pushes back on pit strategy, it's because he feels something in the car that no data can show. When he questions fuel usage or tire changes,